That's why it is essential that we practice emergency drills during our daily lives so that we can be prepared for any such circumstances. As soon as you feel the earthquake, hide your body under a table to protect yourself. When the shaking has stopped, shut off the gas valves and turn off the electricity, and locate your way of exit by opening the doors. If you're coming out of a multi-story building, use the stairs and definitely not the elevators. When outside the building, rush to an open field and cover your head while en route. Finally, tune into a broadcasting channel and keep yourself updated on what's happening and what to do next. But remember, prevention is the best solution. This campaign is brought to you by BFM Busan 영어방송.
지금 방송 광고라는 부메랑을 던져보세요. 소비자를 향해 정확히 날아가는 광고. 힘차게 돌아가는 경제. 부메랑처럼 다시 기업의 이익으로 되돌아오니까요. 방송 광고, 경제에 큰 힘이 됩니다. 부산 방송광고발전협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
June 4th, 2007. If you were born on or before that date and you're a South Korean citizen, guess what? You are eligible to vote in the presidential election. The National Election Commission, or NEC, has revealed that there are currently 44.39 million eligible voters, including Koreans who are abroad. In a bid to really emphasize transparency and prevent fraud, the NEC will publish hourly updates on the number of ballots cast at each polling station on its website, starting with this election. Are you ready to vote? Is a big question. I'm Catherine. This is Morning Wave in Busan on Thursday, May 29th on BEFM 부산 영어 방송. Good morning, Wavers. I hope you are all doing well. We are kicking off our Thursday morning together. Can you believe it's actually the last Thursday of this month? And today, a very special day indeed because early voting has already started as of 6 a.m. this morning, about an hour ago, and going to continue until 6 p.m. tonight. The same thing again for tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Do you know who you're going to vote for? But don't tell me. Don't tell me. Keep it in your heart, your mind. Okay, so without telling me, just asking, rhetorically, are you ready? Do you know who you're going to vote for? Well, skepticism is high across the country, and Busan is no exception. One domestic media outlet reported that all the Busan citizens they spoke to said things like this, like, I don't like any of them, meaning the candidates, referring to, the martial law imposition, but also judicial risks associated with the candidates. Busan as a whole is considered a traditionally conservative city, but this isn't necessarily set in stone because many Busanites voted for the Democratic Party candidate if we look back to 2017. And there may be more of a generational divide in our city. The older generation, well, they tend to stick to the Conservative People Power Party, PPP, although again, most people are not too happy with the current political situation. And on the contrary, the younger generation is showing stronger support for the Democratic Party, the DP, or at least kind of in opposition to the PPP and its role in the martial law debacle. So, voters are looking carefully at the respective pledges, especially the regional specific promises seeking to revive the local economy, because that is so important. Well, where do the parties stand? Well, the DP is looking for around 40% of the votes in Busan, the PPP aiming for 60%. Of course, this will all come to light when? June 3rd. And again, early voting is happening across the country as we speak. And now, we're going to talk about something that is going to be talked about a little later on in our program. So text topic time. Are you ready? Here we go. If you have a driver's license, how old were you when you got your license? And was there a particular reason you got it? Like why? For those who don't have a driver's license, do you ever plan on getting one? Why or why not? So it's all about driving. 자, 운전면허 있으신 분들 몇 살에 이유, 왜 면허를 땄는지요. 그리고 없으신 분들은 언젠가는 이거는 꼭 한번 해야 되겠다. 딸 거야. 아니면 그냥 계속 없어도 돼. 그렇게 생각할 수도 있습니다. 이유는 뭘까요? So I want the reasoning as to why you feel like, okay, I'm going to get a license or, I really need my license versus I don't really need it. Do I need to get a driver's license? And here in Korea, especially if you live in Busan, you can very much get around using the public transportation system because it's so amazing without a driver's license. But of course, if you're abroad, it's a whole different story, right? Your opinion, your thoughts, send them into BEFM's live stream live chat on YouTube. Go to the YouTube platform. You can subscribe after you see your logo. Click on that and then log in, chat with our other waivers. Also from your phone, pound 9050, shop 9050. That's going to cost you 100 won. And you can also reach me for free through Kakao Talk. So you got to add us as a friend first. 친구 찾기에서 네. On Kakao Talk, same thing there. Type in BEFM or Busan 영어 방송 to find us first. You can send in your messages. You can also send in photos. That's a good thing about that way of getting in touch with me. The ways you can listen to our program. Well, like I said, we're streaming live on YouTube right now, but traditionally, we're a radio show, right? So 90.5, 103.3 FM if you're in the Busan area. That's on the radio. Well, you can watch once again, if you're watching right now, or again at your leisure on YouTube. The BFM app and the Popbang app. Those are two apps that you can download for free. The latter app, you can listen to the Wa글와글 segment. Looking ahead to our Thursday morning together, we have Dr. Ryu featuring Dr. Ryu, Ryu Sang-hyo. We also have Vasana in hour number 2 for Buzz Breakdown. For our special interview today, we're going to do something a little different because we are going to be focusing on Asian artists. The reason is the National Gallery Singapore is currently presenting a special exhibition really focusing on sometimes overlooked contributions of Asian artists that really helped shape the scene in Paris, the Parisian art scene during the interwar years. So I find this so fascinating. So join me in hour number 2 for this special interview. And I'll be back with news overview. It's now 7:06 and this is News Overview. 3-man race shaping up as early voting begins. Democratic parties Ije명, People Power parties 김문수, and Reform parties Lee Jun-seok have formed a 3-way race into the final stretch of the presidential election as early voting is underway across the country today and tomorrow. U.S. Embassy suspends student visa interviews. The U.S. Embassy in South Korea appears to have paused scheduling new interviews for student visa applicants amid reports of Washington preparing to require social media vetting for such applicants. Country's childbirth rises for 9th month. The number of babies born in South Korea in March came to 21,041, up 6.8% from a year ago, marking the 9th consecutive month of increases, according to Statistics Korea yesterday. Customs authorities seize a record 1.7 tons of cocaine. The Korea Customs Service has seized a record 1.7 tons of cocaine and referred 4 suspects to prosecutors on charges of attempting to smuggle the illegal drug into the country. 10 killed while seeking aid in Gaza. At least 10 people have died after Israel fires shots at hundreds of Palestinians who burst into a United Nations warehouse in Gaza in attempts to find food. And this was News Overview. It is now time for Now in Busan. And filling in for Sejin while she tends to Person Matters, we have Claire in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
Oh, I'm glad to see you this morning. So for a text topic, we're talking about, driver's license, driving. So first question, do you have your driver's license? Why did you get it? When did you get it? All the, the questions that go added on.
Yes, I do have first of all. Because usually in Korea, they get the license after the high school.
Yes.
But then all of my friends, group of friends, they all went there together. But I rejected because I didn't want to wake up early.
That was the reason?
Because I was like, oh, yeah, after school, nah, I don't want to do this. And then they 3 of them, they all got it. But I was like, nah, I'm out. I don't need it right now. And then I waited for it, the moment to come. And then in Australia, you need a driver's license, but I held it until I graduated. I worked with public transport as well. And then I had to move house. And then it turns out it took like 10 minutes by car. No, 5 minutes by car.
Yes.
30 minutes by bus.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, this is the moment. I cannot hold it anymore.
You can't hold it off any longer. You got to get it.
I got a job. Yeah.
Oh, so relatively by choice, you
Yes.
kind of held off. But now you do have one. Okay.
I do have one now.
Thanks for sharing. We're going to jump into Now in Busan. What is the first story about?
Well, it all started with the city bus strike early yesterday morning around 4:20 a.m. More than 2,500 buses in Busan came to a halt.
Indeed, yes.
Drivers from 33 companies walked off the job after wage talks broke down overnight. Even some village buses, 마을버스, joined in. It was chaos for commuters.
Right, just to go back to yesterday, I mean, does that mean that, there were no buses at all?
Exactly. People were stranded, especially during rush hour. But around lunchtime, there was a breakthrough. After an all-nighter of negotiation, the union and management finally accepted a proposal that had been made earlier by the Labor Commission, but initially rejected.
Well, what changed their minds?
A big part of the deal was restructuring the entire wage system. Basically, they scrapped bonuses like performance and summer allowances and folded those into regular monthly salaries.
Okay.
These aligns with a recent Supreme Court ruling. It's actually a big deal. Busan is the first city in the country to make this kind of change.
I see. Well, we want to know, what does this mean for bus drivers?
So it means their official base salary, what's called the ordinary wage, 기본급, goes up. Overall, the raise is around 10.5%. They also extended the retirement age by 1 year from 63 to 64.
Okay. And what about the city, though?
Well, it's going to cost. The city already spends over 300 billion won a year to cover bus operation losses. This deal could add another 50 billion won on top of that.
Yes. So I'm thinking, though, so it's going to cost the city. The bus drivers got at least partially what they wanted. But this also kind of avoids this prolonged strike, which affects so many commuters.
Exactly. And both sides seem to recognize that they needed to settle.
Okay.
For the drivers, the public and city finances. Still, the mayor has said this is a wake-up call to review how the quasi-public transport system is managed moving forward.
Yes. So we're we're going to move on from transportation to democracy, because as we've been prefacing the entire, morning thus far for the past 13 minutes, early voting has begun, right? Starting today, right?
Yes, today and tomorrow. And as you might guess, police and fire department are on high alert.
So is this normal?
It's a bit more intense this time. Busan police have activated what's called the reinforced security level. That's the second highest out of 5 emergency tiers. Then on the actual election day, June 3rd, they'll go full on with the highest level, 가포 emergency, 가포 비상.
That sounds really serious, right? Like 가포 비상. How many officers are we talking about?
Nationwide, about
Yes.
68,000. Here in Busan, over 3,100 officers will be stationed at polling places, along with more than 1,100 patrol vehicles. They're covering 206 early voting sites, 914 regular voting sites, and 16 ballot counting centers.
I see. So it's not just about like watching, keeping an eye on the voting, or it's also about response teams.
Exactly. They've set up hotlines with each polling station, and rapid response teams are on standby. There'll be pet patrols near voting centers too.
Well, what about fire safety?
Great question. The fire disaster headquarters is also in full swing. They've already inspected over 1,100 polling places for fire safety, checking alarms, exits, evacuation plans.
So it does seem like they don't want to leave anything to chance.
No, and during the vote counting on June 3rd, firefighters will be stationed at every counting center to respond instantly in case of any emergency.
I see. So definitely better prepared, right? Let's switch gears for now. What is this about? I hear there's a new park for pets.
Yes, something a bit more uplifting. Busan is building Korea's largest pet culture park right in Cheolmameon, Gijanggun County.
I'm like looking forward to it already. And if you're on our YouTube, feed, you can see where it's going to go, right?
Huge.
Right.
Yes.
So tell us more.
So the plan just got its final approval. The city is investing about 35.5 billion Korean won to create a 241,000 square meter park. That's the size of about 34 soccer fields.
34, that's pretty huge. So what's going to be included?
So it's going to be more than just dog runs and trails.
Okay.
There'll be playground, walking paths, rest areas, and also community zones where pet owners and non-pet owners can mingle. Think of it as a space for harmony between humans with or without pets.
I like that idea that it's not just for pets and pet owners, that there is going to be more of an inclusivity, right?
Exactly. They also have educational spaces, a botanical garden, pet training zones, and even a local market street.
Ooh, nice. So, big question, when is construction gonna begin?
It's going to be soon. They've wrapped up planning and now move on to design and budgeting. As soon as compensation to landowners is finalized, construction will begin.
So excited about this. Well, we're gonna get into something a little wild. So this is about a rare eagle that's making headlines, right?
Yes, a crested serpent eagle, which is rare in Korea, 관수리, is being released back into the wild after 5 months of intensive rehabilitation.
Well, we need more information.
It was found injured in Busan last December and taken to the Wildlife Treatment Center. After healing, it spent time in an outdoor enclosure practicing flight and adjusting to outdoor conditions.
So it's ready? Is that what's going on?
Yep. Tomorrow it'll be released in Changyeong's mountain Hwangsan, a perfect habitat with dense forest, clean water, and plenty of prey.
Yes.
Ideal for a bird of prey like the crested serpent eagle.
Wow. So are they going to be tracking it as they sometimes do?
They are.
Okay.
It'll wear a GPS tracker so scientists can study its movements. This will help us understand more about the species, especially since they're so rarely spotted in Korea.
Indeed. What a journey. I mean, from rescue to recovery and now release, right?
Indeed. It's a great example of local and national collaboration for wildlife conservation.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming in today. And we're going to see you again tomorrow, right?
Yes, you will.
All right. Thank you, Claire. And I'll be right back with your traffic and weather. It's time to get to your traffic report. There's an accident to report on Gwanmun-daero toward Mora, right past the Baegang Tunnel Ogui intersection. Please be aware of this. Also, it's backed up on the Dongso overpass from Hwangryong ramp to the old Kaegum tollgate. It's also congested from Mandik intersection to the Namhae Expressway Deokcheon ramp. And it's backed up on Luno Samsung-daero from Myeongji underpass to Shino Bridge. Currently, it is 16 degrees Celsius under clear skies here in Busan. It's going to go up to 25. Looking across the country, it's going to be clear, but showers are forecast in the afternoon in some areas. The daytime high, it's going to go up to anywhere between 19 and 28 degrees Celsius. This was your traffic and weather. It's time for Top Stories. We have Haley here. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nice and summery.
Thank you. I'm a little cold, actually.
Yeah, but we got to keep it cool in here for the equipment,
yes,
as I always say. Well, we're going to dive into our text topic. How old were you when you got your driver's license?
16, because I was in the U.S.
Yes.
And what are you going to do in the summer between, I think, sophomore year and junior year in high school? Because all of your friends are in driver's ed.
Yes.
But I do have to say, unlike Souvenir-nim, who says you don't learn driving from your family, my dad actually taught me. And he's
really?
He's also very infinitely patient, still putting up with me after all these years.
Right.
And then I was surprisingly a fairly decent early driver. And the tickets I got after I got my license, it's a whole different thing. We've talked about that. But yeah, so that was good. And then just true to my personality, which you also share.
Yeah.
I studied so hard for the written test.
written test.
If it has the word test in it, you study.
Yeah.
And then I think my dad got sick of me studying. So school was canceled one day because it was a snow day. And he just drove me to the DMV. And he's like, you're taking your test. But I'm like, I need to study more. I have no cards. And he's like,
It's not even that difficult,
done,
right?
It's not. We're done with your nonsense. Go.
Yes. You're like,
okay, all
take
right.
the test.
All right.
Interesting. Your dad is infinitely patient. My
He
dad,
really
on the
is.
other hand, I was a good driver. My sister was not. She still has emotional scars from him,
Yelling at her?
So it's I agree. If possible, don't learn things from family members.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to jump into our top stories. We are D-5 until June 3rd. And early voting, as we've been saying, underway for an hour and 21 minutes. And major candidates are casting their votes today.
They are. So the Democratic Party is doing a full-scale vote early campaign, encouraging voters to, quote, punish the insurrection forces with their ballots. The candidate Ije명 will vote in Sinchon today, which is a major university district in Seoul. So he will be talking to young voters to go out there. Key members of the Democratic Party's election committee will be voting early across the country. So very high-profile members doing some press coverage there as well. Going to the People Power Party, PPP candidate Kim also voting early. Interestingly, his choice, because again, you don't need to go to your district, is Gaeanggu district in Incheon, which is Ije명's district. So that's a clear message there. The PPP election committee sent a press release out yesterday saying that this choice is aimed at creating what's called a golden cross, what we call in Korean media, meaning where approval ratings cross. So surpassing Ije명's approval numbers, starting with his home ground district.
I see.
Then Kim will go to Busan, where he was a third-term lawmaker, and adjacent cities like Sihung, Ansan, Uiwang, and Anyang. So focusing in the capital area.
Yes, indeed. And so, experts around this time, they're always looking for patterns or signs, especially with what city or province kind of may be the barometer.
Right. So again, we are in what's called a blackout period, 깜깜이. So not us, but companies and broadcasting stations cannot conduct any new polls or publish polls that were conducted after this date. So we look at other patterns, for example, the past.
Okay.
So in almost every country, there is a major city or state that seems to get the results right every single time. In the U.S., that would be the state of Ohio. Between 1964 and 2016, this state got the president right every single time. So candidate who took Ohio ended up taking the presidency.
Okay.
Exception being 2020, but it came back on track last year. A lot of people in South Korea, they point to Chungcheong as what we in Korea call casting vote or kind of a major barometer.
Okay.
But interestingly, data actually points to Incheon.
Incheon.
Right. So this is according to an SBS analysis of presidential candidates and their election results from 87 to 2022. They analyzed the candidates who received over 10% of votes and the difference in margins between the total national voter rate versus what each city voted for.
I see.
Incheon came out as the city that consistently had the smallest difference between how it voted and how the rest of the country voted. So pretty much in line. So it's kind of the best sample. Remarkable figures in the 18th election between 박근혜 and Moon Jae-in. This is where 박근혜 won. Incheon matched the national voting level to the first decimal digit.
Oh, really?
소수점 바로 다음 자리, 첫째 자리. Yeah.
So, what factors may attribute to Incheon being such a political, a barometer?
Right, because interestingly, Incheon and Busan fairly similar, both port cities, populations getting increasingly similar. But we have to look at the demographics, not just the population number, but population makeup and also the political culture. It is a metropolitan city in the capital area, which means there are a lot of people who are not natives to Incheon. So they have a lot of out-of-towners. According to 2015 data, only 40% of people who currently live in Incheon, or back then, were born in Incheon. That means almost pretty much 60% from other parts of the country.
I see.
Let's compare that to Busan. Here, the majority, 53.6% of people who live here were born in Busan. So that's a bit of a difference.
Yes.
So this means Incheon has less of this 지역 issue, regionalism, when it comes to their voting pattern. And then on top of that, the city actually has a relatively low voter turnout. 투표율이 낮은 편입니다.
네.
But that means there are fewer diehards, people who fall on the either extreme.
Yes.
So people tend to change their minds depending on the candidate and what's going on politically at the time. By the way, going back to Chungcheong, it did get the correct candidate in more elections than Incheon did. So these are the two areas that we are looking to.
Potential clues, but we won't know until next week. Well, we're going to go back to the presidential debate from 2 days ago. And Lee Jun-seok, he's getting some flack for comments he made during the debate.
Right. So Reform Party's Lee Jun-seok said he repeated an expression that I재명's son allegedly said, and this was about female genitalia, and we're just going to leave it there. And during the debate, he actually directed a question to Justice Party's candidate Kwon Young-guk and said, would your party, by your party standards, consider this as hate speech against women? Kwon didn't really say anything during the debate, but wrote on his Facebook page afterwards that the comment was shocking, something that he thought he'd never hear on a televised debate. And this was an act of violence against women and called for Lee Jun-seok's immediate resignation.
I see.
Actually, he's not the only one who feels that way because multiple legal complaints have been lodged against Lee Jun-seok, including from this law firm Chanjong. Attorney Lee Byung-chul said he received a petition via the public petition page, 국민신문고, against Lee for violation of candidate slander, 후보자 비방 under the Election Act, and defamation, 명예훼손. He said, the lawyer said, Lee not only seriously insulted women who watched the broadcast, but also made a false statement with the intent of preventing another candidate from getting elected. And the complaints are actually getting filed from several different civic groups.
I see. Well, what did he have to say about the matter?
Right. So he did apologize yesterday. He said he knew there would be people who would feel uncomfortable regarding that comment, and he would like to sincerely apologize to those who felt that way. However, he still argued that what he said was an word-for-word repeat of that original comment.
Okay.
That he basically censored it as much as he could, and he actually doesn't know how to water it down any further.
Okay, well, we're going to leave that topic there. And one of the buzzwords right now in international news is the Golden Dome, which President Donald Trump has floated. North Korea and China have recently spoken out about this. So let's find out, what is this Golden Dome that he's talking about and why it's getting such a kind of a response?
Right. So it's, being it's under works. It's being developed. It's a futuristic missile defense system, which could potentially protect the U.S. against even ballistic and cruise missiles. So President Donald Trump first mentioned this right after his inauguration back in January.
Yes.
And last week, the administration actually took major steps, picked a design, apparently, for this so-called Golden Dome. So Trump says the system is a next-generation set of technologies across land, sea, and space, including, and this is what makes it next generation, space-based sensors and interceptors, and apparently capable of intercepting missiles that were launched from not only the other side of the world, but also from outer space. So the system, as you can probably glean from the name, inspired by the famous Iron Dome, which Israel uses, and they've been using it since 2011. However, the Golden Dome will be much larger and designed to combat stronger threats. And then, well, with anything military, and if it has the name Golden in it, what about the cost? It sounds expensive, doesn't it? It is going to be expensive. Just the initial first investment, $25 billion.
Wow.
And Trump says the total cost will be $175 billion. But the Congressional Budget Office has estimated that it will ultimately be spending $542 billion over 20 years. And that's only on the space-based parts of that system. Anyways, we're looking at many, many zeros.
Yes.
And then so that's the military aspect. And then it gets political, geopolitical. Trump also brought up the issue of Canada joining U.S. statehood as the 51st state. How would these two be tied? Well, he claims that Canadian officials were considering his proposal for Canada to contribute some $61 billion to benefit from the Golden Dome, but said you wouldn't be paying anything if you joined us as a 51st state. Yeah.
Well, it has definitely incited reactions, right?
Right, because obviously that defense system is targeted at pretty much a handful of countries, which, U.S. adversaries, so namely Russia, China, and North Korea. So they have all condemned the Golden Dome as dangerous and being a threat to global stability. So we kind of remember not the film Star Wars, but the Star Wars during the the 60s and 70s between the U.S. and Soviet Union, this arms race. They're basically saying that it would be a repeat if the U.S. were to take this step. Pyongyang's foreign ministry criticized this plan as one that could turn outer space into a potential nuclear war field, adding that the plan is Pyongyang tends to use colorful language, the height of self-righteousness and arrogance. Beijing also echoed it, saying that it is seriously concerned about the Golden Dome with strong offensive implications.
Well, we'll see if this actually comes to light. But thanks for covering all the news stories, of course. We'll check in with you in hour number 2. Thank you, Haley.
See you in a bit.
Well, we are ready for our first song break, so here it is. This is 목요일 밤 by Urban Zacapa featuring Benzino.
If you don't mind 둘이서 달래 어디든 땀을 가득 채울 너와 나 그곳을 향해 Wherever you are 이리저리 튀다 정해진 모든 걸 헤매도 하나도 웃음 안 나고 또 올래 일이 두렵고 밤은 좀 남았는데 어떻게 써야 할지 모르고 너와 함께 밤 공기를
갈게 집에 가지 말고 있어줘 baby I'm on my way maybe I'll be there by 8 왜 너가 차비를 내야 해 좋은 음악이 있는 오빠 차가 있잖아 물론 내일 일찍 일 나가야 해 이런 신랑이 할 시간에 조금이라도 널 봐야 해 난 호흡이 달리는 목요일 밤 널 생각하면서 달려가나
평범한 목요일 밤 너 데려갈게 어디든 일주일 중에 네가 제일 지쳐 있을 오늘 Wanna drive if you don't mind 둘이서 갈래 어디든 밤을 가득 채울 너와 나 그곳을 향해 Wherever you are
baby 어디든 데려다 줄게 건반처럼 가로등을 가로지르며 너의 하루를 들으며 그랬어 그러면서 너를 괴롭혔던 바깥 세상의 밤 공기를 메우며 창밖에 내던진 음악처럼 한강엔 별과 다른 시간과 똑같이 흐르고 있어 baby 우린 느낄 수 있어 둘이서 앞으로 더 많은 목요일에 도착할 거란 걸
평범한 목요일 밤 널 데려갈게 어디든
Wherever you want, 그 무엇이 됐건 Let's go, let's go
Wanna try if you don't mind 둘이서 갈래 어디든
Yeah, wherever you want, wherever we want Wherever I want, wherever we want We're going to, yeah
바람을 떠느끼게 창문을 활짝 열어줘 아무 말 필요 없어 그냥 나를 믿어 Wanna try if you don't mind 둘이서 갈래 어디든 나를 가득 채울 너와 나 그곳을 향해 Wherever you
Wherever you want, wherever we want Wherever I want, wherever we want We're going to, yeah Wherever you want, wherever we want Wherever I want, wherever we want We're going to, yeah
The Korea Broadcast Advertising Cooperation (KOBACO) is offering support for the production of broadcast advertisements for innovative small and medium-sized enterprises. Up to 45 million Korean won is available for television advertisements and up to 3 million Korean won for radio advertisements. Applications will be accepted until 6 p.m. on June 2nd. For more information, please visit the KOBACO website. We appreciate your interest.
It is time for Ask Dr. Ryu, and that's why Dr. Ryu Sang-hyo is here in the morning with us again. Welcome back.
Thank you. You call my name really correctly. It's a little bit hard for you to pronounce.
Right.
Even Koreans.
I try. Thank you for noticing.
Yeah.
Right. So today's text topic
Yes.
is all about driving. So do you remember when you got your driver's license, how old you were?
Oh yeah, it's totally drove me crazy off the wall.
Really?
I was just kidding.
Okay, I was gonna say. I mean, I'm sure have taken many difficult exams in your life, but I would think not your driver's license. So, how old were you?
Maybe 23, 24.
Ah.
Yeah. I wanted to drive. I don't know why, but because it's like a kind of a macho thing at that time.
At a time?
Yeah. So I got the. I got it passed right after just one exam. And then also there are 필기 tests, written tests. Yes, I got maybe 89, something like that.
Really?
Yeah, the cutoff.
You didn't get 100?
Not 100.
100점 아니에요?
But I just said one night. For one night.
You crammed.
Yeah, I crammed.
그렇지.
Yeah. And after that, I was such a kind of a reckless driver, like really a road hog. But
So disappointed.
Yeah, but as I get older, and as I get older, I kind of become humble. And then when I moved to Busan here about 10 years ago, I am so become more humble again because driving in Busan area, it's
challenging.
It's very challenging.
I was so surprised when I first moved to Busan. I took the written test when I was 15 and a half. That's the law in California, right? 15 years and 6 months, you can take the written test, and then you have 6 months to kind of practice. 16th birthday, you can get your driver's license. So on my birthday, I got my driver's license. And then, so I've been driving for such a long time. I came to Busan, and I was scared to drive. 너무 무서웠어요. First of all, the lanes are a little bit narrower than California. And then number two, I say it fondly now. 이제는 그냥 애정이, 근데 조금 aggressive driving a little bit? I felt it that way. So I didn't drive for the longest time. For 6 months in Busan, I didn't drive at all. And then finally I was like, now I'm so used to it. Now I am just a regular Busanite driving semi-aggressively. But I do yield whenever I need to. So we're going to jump into our segment. So what do you have for us today, Dr. Ryu?
Oh, I'm going to talk about no.
No.
Yes.
Just no.
No. Does it sting you?
Being rejected. That word, I think for some people, it's like a big thing of rejection. It's not as pleasant as yes, but it's acceptable, is it not?
Yeah, it's not.
But I think for some people, they take it like real personally.
That's right. Yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about today. For those who experience rejection as kind of a little take it personally. It might make you feel a little bit disappointed and also make you really sad and depressed even.
Oh, really?
So in that case, I want to tell you how to overcome those kind of rejections and also saying no. Yeah, some people might have difficulty saying no. So that's why I'm going to tell you how to say no. And then don't feel bad about yourself.
Yes. Okay. Well, I like this topic because it's something like, we have to face in life. You're going to get a no sometime, probably throughout the day even. But why does it feel like for some people, like, getting a no from somebody, it's just a little painful sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Like stepping on I can't say that brand name, like a block. In the middle of the night, that toy block, it might feel like that for some people. Well, and I'm so interested. So tell us more about this whole idea of hearing and, no instead of yes.
It's in our brain. Actually, rejection lights up the same brain regions as physical pain.
Really?
That's
physical
true.
pain.
Yeah, so true. So when you stub your toe on that sneaky table leg, the same pain you might experience when you hear no or rejection and things like that. Studies like one from doctor at the University of Michigan show that when people recall breakup while looking at a photo of their ex or some kind of a little uncomfortable experience things, and their brain's pain center anterior cingulate cortex, which is a pain processing area, that starts firing. So when you say that breakup hurts, you're not exaggerating. It's a real phenomenon happening. In your brain. It's a chemical response.
Okay, so no or rejection can be physically, like you're feeling the pain, really.
Exactly.
It's not just in your head, like you're not imagining it.
No, not at all. So here is why saying no, first of all, saying no is so hard, not, getting rejected. First of all, I'm going to go over why saying no hurts. It's backed by a science. One reason is fear of breaking bonds. So 관계 단절에 대한 두려움이죠. Human beings are wired for connection.
Yes.
It's in our DNA from our days in tribes. So saying no feels like risking a relationship. Your brain might feel like, if I say no, well, will they stop inviting me to that hangout at nights? So,
that's true. Because you're like, if I say no, sometimes you feel kind of obligated. Like, oh, 가야 되나? But you just sometimes you're just so tired, or you don't, for whatever reason, you don't want to go. Right.
That's right. That reason. Another reason is good person myth.
Oh.
착한 사람 신드롬. Yeah.
진짜 착한데요.
I hear that many times. Yeah. Yeah. It's so true, especially here in Korea, the collectives, the cultures like Korea, we are taught being nice means sometimes always saying yes. So if you say no, you might worry that you're being selfish or rude, even if you're just protecting yourself and your time. And the third reason is guilt overload.
Oh.
Some people say it's bad, like 죄책감 때문인가? So when you say no, your brain might flood with your brain might flood you with guilt. Like you're letting someone down. For instance, imagine turning down a friend who asks to borrow money, especially your friend who is in needy situation.
Sure.
And then even if you can't afford it, you might feel like you're the bad guy.
Yes. I can definitely see that. The guilt.
Yes.
So what about when we hear the word no? For example, just as an example, like let's say, you're applying for a job. And it's like, really difficult, the job market out there right now. And then you get that email saying, oh, thank you for applying. They always say, thank you for applying. However, if you see the however, it's like, okay, so I didn't get the job, right? Like that rejection, like some people might feel like, like a punch to the gut. It's like painful, right?
Yeah, I can totally relate to this because I applied many U.S. residency program in the United States. I gave away maybe about 300 emails. 300.
Yes.
And I got only 7 invitations. So all the rest of them are rejections.
293.
Maybe.
Rejections,
right. Yes. Anyhow, the reason why it hurts is because our brain often blur the line between rejection of the idea and then rejection of us. For instance, let's say you pitch a new project at work and your boss might say, no, it's not feasible. But one time, it's okay. But if you kind of consistently get rejected, your brain might twist that info. I'm not good enough, and things like that. This is especially true when you face repeated rejections, like being left out as a kid or ghosted in the past relationships. Those experiences make your brain extra sensitive to no.
I'm sure. I mean, like, even as our 예지 PD님 saying, 진짜 계속 거절당하면 그게 좀 뭐랄까 이제 위축되고, like you just feel like so small, such a small, like you feel yourself like getting smaller, and rejection, it can be difficult, no? Yeah?
네, 맞아요. 정말 어렵죠.
네.
그래서 여기 so I'm gonna say 2 things. The key takeaway.
Okay.
First of all, saying no doesn't make you a villain. First of all, it's about setting boundaries. It's for better, healthier relationship with the person you talk to.
Sure.
And the second is hearing no doesn't mean you are unworthy. It might just mean the timing or fit wasn't right at that moment.
Okay.
So it doesn't depreciate your value.
Okay, well, those are 2 things that we can keep in mind, even as you're saying no to somebody. You're not bad. And hearing no does not make you unworthy. So let's keep that in mind. So, I don't know. This whole idea of like, oh, don't take it personally. I think it's so much easier said than done, though.
Yeah, some people think that way. Me too. Yeah. Let's try a quick reframe.
Okay.
So I'm going to tell you how to overcome this kind of hurtful or 현타오는. Okay. Imagine you ask your friend to grab dinner at a hot place, and then they say, no, I'm busy. You might think that they don't like me.
싫어한다.
Yeah, that's right. And then rather, I wanted to try to think like this. They've got their own stuff going on. Maybe they're swamped with work.
Yes.
Yeah. That kind of shifting can save you a lot of heartache.
So I want to read this one message because it's related to this. So this is from 락원 지상 웨이버. 팀 후배에게 저녁 먹자고 했다가 거절당해서 의기소침해졌어요. So, I mean, this is like just asking a colleague, like, hey, let's grab a bite to eat. And then they, got rejected. 약간 뻘쭘할까요? Like, you kind of feel like, like, why? Why no?
Okay.
Like, who doesn't want to eat with me? Sorry. 목소리 좀 올라가.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want to eat with me? Yes.
Maybe I think the timing isn't right, or maybe your 후배 might have some kind of a business going on, maybe a little bit unhappy situation. He or she
Something
might
else,
be,
probably.
Yeah, something else.
That's not related to you, the person asking, right?
Right. So I'm going to tell you, please stay tuned. I'm going to tell you how to overcome those kind of rejections.
Sure.
Okay, first of all, there are several ways to get over this kind of a rejection, science-backed ways to recover.
Okay.
So let me give you an example and then how to overcome it.
Sure.
First, name the emotion.
Name the emotion.
Yeah. Instead of saying, I'm awful, I'm such a loser, I got turned down. I wanted to go specific.
Okay.
I feel really embarrassed. I'm a little bit disappointed. But that's kind of seeing yourself from third party's point of view.
Sure.
Yeah, that's really important.
Okay.
So, and then you gotta get specific. Don't depreciate your value. Just
Okay.
the timing isn't right. And then I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm gonna ask her out. I'm gonna ask him out next time. So the timing wasn't right.
Yes.
So you gotta think this way. So first of all, name the emotion correctly, and then be kind to yourself. Talk to yourself like you talk to a friend. Avoid some things like that. I'm such an idiot for applying that job. But I wanted to say this one. I gave it all, my all, and I'm proud of that.
Okay.
Not many people are allowed to do this, capable of applying that job, at least. Yes. So, yeah. So mindfulness research shows that self-compassion lowers the brain's pain process response after rejection.
Because let's face it, we're all going to get rejected. I mean, even throughout the day today, there will be a number of rejections, whether they're minor or kind of major. It's part of life, right?
That's part of our lives.
So be kind to yourself. Got it.
That's right. And next one is don't personalize it. Yeah, it's kind of easier said than done.
근데 우리 다 약간 이렇게 소심할 때는
Yeah.
you take it personally, right? Like Umberto says, nah, that friend doesn't get any more invites. Next friend. He's taking it real personal, right? So Umberto, don't take it personally. Yes.
That's another way of recovering or overcoming your situation, his situation. But anyhow, I don't personalize it. How to not too personalize it is, let's say if you pitch a new menu idea at your working place, and your boss might say no. In that case, instead of thinking that I'm terrible at this, just try to think like this. The timing wasn't right for that idea. So studies have shown that people who blame timing or fit recover faster.
Yes. All right, and next, what do you think is important also?
Yeah, write a self-affirmation letter. Yeah, write down 3 things that you love about yourself. Even there's a song "Love Yourself" by BTS. Yeah, that saves a lot of. That song saves a lot of people actually.
Yes.
So, and also reconnect with supportive groups. Like when you are rejected, and then give a call to one of your friends, family, and then just talking over the phone 20 minutes, chat, remind you that you are valued, and do something small. Like if a breakup, just to try to why don't you join a running club? Like try 10K or 5K, and then these small wins tell your brain, oh, you got this one. It can give some power to resilient, make you resilient.
Yes.
And also practice distancing.
Distancing.
Yes. Try to like this. Talk to yourself. Instead of saying I, just say you or they. Okay, Sang-yo, you did a good job. You didn't nail it this time, but Sang-yo, he will get better soon. So this is called psychological distancing. It's backed by science research. And also last one, look for the lesson. After getting turned down, what did I learn? So that you can grow and mature Yeah, so this process make you feel better, and also it might give you a chance to, being mature.
Yes.
So here are two takeaway. Saying no doesn't mean you are cold, and hearing no doesn't make you less. And also, I bumped into this kind of a quote. It's written by Laurie Deschain. She suffered from very complex PTSD, but one of her books says, you can be a good person with kind heart and still say no.
한국말로 하자면 이게 무슨 뜻일까요?
마음이 따뜻한 사람도 아니요라고 말할 수 있어요.
Yeah, let's not be afraid to say no. I think especially in Korean culture, Asian culture, it's kind of like, oh, you don't want to say no. It's like almost painful to say no, but it's okay to say no.
It's
right?
totally okay, and it's for better relationship with the person you talk to.
I agree. Well, thank you for going into the ins and outs of saying no, being rejected as well, and how to recover. So thank you so much for bringing us a really interesting topic. Thank you, Dr. Liu.
No.
Yes?
Thank you.
거절당했네요. Well, I'm going to have to say goodbye. Speak to the hand to Dr. Liu. Complete joke. We're going to get to our final song of our number one. This is 거절할 거야 by 장기하와 얼굴들. I'll be back at 8.
마침내 그날이 와버렸네. 오랫동안 기다려왔다네. 난 정말 참을 수 없었나봐. 그랬나봐. 지쳐버렸나봐. 지나치게 걱정을 했었나봐. 나쁜 사람들까 두려웠었나봐. 이젠 아냐. 혹시나 네가 나를 착한 사람 아니라고 하더라도 거절할 거야. 아무리 이런저런 얘기를 해도 내가 내키질 않으면 거절할 거야. 아무리 네 얼굴이 어두워져도 내가 내키질 않으면 거절할 거야. 거절할 거야. 아무래도 역시 나는 안 되겠어. 싫어라는 말을 입 밖으로 내는 상상해보려고만 해도 막 입꼬리가 완전히 딱 굳어버리려고 하는데 아니야 오늘만은 내가 반드시 네 부탁을 거절.
현대해상 모델 이정재입니다. 인생은 계속해서 모양을 바꾸죠. 혼자에서 가족으로 또 사회로 점점 커져가는 당신의 인생을 따라 당신의 어떤 인생도 감싸주는 마음 넓은 보험이 될 수 있도록 마음이 합니다. 현대해상.
선을 하나 넘었을 뿐인데 익숙한 세상이 아름답게 다가옵니다.
하는 도시 부산. 열정과 희망이 가득한 글로벌 관광 허브 도시 부산. 글로벌 K-pop 팬들이 하나 되는 축제 부산 원아시아 페스티벌. 한류 콘텐츠의 심장이 부산에서 뜁니다. The place where the Korean wave begins. A cultural hub blending tradition and innovation. 늘 새롭고 머물고 싶고 다시 찾고 싶은 도시 부산. Play, work, live, 부산. 이 캠페인은 부산의 관광 가치를 창조하는 글로벌 플랫폼 부산관광공사와 함께합니다.
The weather is so nice today. I'm sure this won't be a big deal.
A 3-second long lapse in judgment can burn up an entire mountain, which will take 100 years to recover. We can protect these lush forests if you follow these guidelines. First, do not bring flammable materials to the mountains. Second, do not cook or camp in the mountains. Third, do not litter cigarette butts. Your small actions are the first step towards protecting the beautiful forest. This campaign is brought to you by BEFM 부산 영어방송.
김밥가게 박 사장님도, 문구점 김 사장님도, 우리 부산의 경제를 움직이는 사람들. 우리 동네 작은 가게로 향하는 발걸음이 우리 부산의 경제를 키워가는 한 걸음입니다. 부산 방송광고 발전 협의회.
The time is now 8 o'clock.
Welcome back, everybody. This is hour number 2 of Morning Wave in Busan, and this is Spotlight News. Three-man race shaping up as early voting begins. Democratic parties Ije명, People Power parties Kim-Munsu, and Reform parties Lee Jun-seok have formed a three-way race in the final stretch of the presidential election as early voting is underway across the country today and tomorrow. Ije명 focused his efforts in Seoul, condemning his rival Kim-Munsu's role in the previous administration's martial law imposition, calling for judgment against insurrection. Kim Munsu returned to the conservative stronghold of TK and PK regions to shore up youth support at a university festival. Lee Jun-seok also stayed in Seoul, reiterating that he has never considered candidate unification, claiming his support is growing. In the meantime, polls are open for early voting, set to take place between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. today and tomorrow. U.S. Embassy suspends student visa interviews. The U.S. Embassy in South Korea appears to have paused scheduling new interviews for student visa applicants amid reports of Washington preparing to require social media vetting for such applicants. An American media outlet earlier reported the Donald Trump administration ordered U.S. embassies and consular offices to halt new interviews for student visa applicants as it considers requiring all such applicants to undergo social media vetting. The U.S. Embassy in Seoul has yet to clarify whether it has outright suspended scheduling new interviews, but noted that scheduling for non-immigrant visa interviews are flexible and that visa applicants can continue to submit their applications. Country's birth rate rises for 9th month. The number of babies born in South Korea in March came to 21,041, up 6.8% from a year ago, marking the 9th consecutive month of increases. That's according to Statistics Korea yesterday. The country's total fertility rate also rose by 0.05 from a year earlier to 0.82 in the first quarter, largely due to increased childbirths among women in their 30s. The agency attributed the increase in births to a notable rise in marriages following the COVID-19 pandemic, with the marriage rate up by 11.5% for a 12th consecutive month of growth. Customs authorities seize record 1.7 tons of cocaine. The Korea Customs Service has seized a record 1.7 tons of cocaine and referred 4 suspects to prosecutors on charges of attempting to smuggle the illegal drug into the country. The cocaine, an amount estimated to be enough for approximately 57 million doses, was discovered on April 2nd aboard a 32,000-ton cargo ship that docked at a port in Gangneung after intel from the U.S. Federal Bureau of Investigation, or FBI. Investigators have identified 8 crew members as allegedly being involved in the smuggling operation, with 4 arrested. Authorities are working with Interpol to detain the other 4 crew members. Ten killed while seeking aid in Gaza. At least 10 people have died after Israel fired shots at hundreds of Palestinians who burst into a United Nations warehouse in Gaza in attempts to find food. Gaza's government media office said that Israeli soldiers opened direct fire at hungry Palestinian civilians, but outlets have reported it was not immediately clear if Israeli forces, private contractors, or others had opened fire. In the meantime, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says a strike on Gaza has killed Hamas leader Mohammed Sinwar. Hamas has yet to comment. And this was Spotlight News. It's time for Wa글와글. Haley's back.
Hello, hello.
Yes. So we're going to begin with some waggly election issues, particularly political banners.
Yes, those banners, 현수막, right? They are all over the place, especially at major intersections, and civil complaints, 민원, they are pouring in.
Okay.
But some of them do have to deal with safety. So let's get to that issue. Because parties and candidates, their camps, they're hanging the banners at crowded intersections. And it makes sense because the whole point is visibility. You want to get exposure. However, there have been problems of these banners blocking or obstructing views for drivers. Sometimes they droop and cover the light, so you don't really know to go or not. And even pedestrians.
Right.
Because the ties, initially when they put them up, they're pretty tight. But then the ties come undone with the wind and the drooping.
Yes.
The problem is, though, even if, and this is really important for our waivers, such as myself, 오지랖퍼, if you're a little, very much out there, you want to make changes or you want to help in little things and you want to fix that up, you actually can't. Don't touch it.
At all.
At all. Just don't. Because it is election material and removing it, untying it, doing something to it, you actually could violate the Public Election Act, and that would go under vandalism.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, so that's a serious crime. And again, here's another problem. Election materials, they fall under the jurisdiction of the National Election Commission, NEC, 중앙선관위, not local governments. But usually when you do see those daily inconveniences, the complaints go to the local governments. So it's actually a kind of a roundabout system where a citizen would call in a local government and that district office would have to lodge that to the NEC, and the NEC makes a case-by-case judgment, and there isn't really a clear guideline.
I see. Well, then there are the banners hung by local governments that have come under scrutiny for potentially being partisan.
Right. So we don't really, as private citizens, we don't really know this, but there are 2 types of banners. And how do we categorize them? Based on who pays for them. Because isn't that the most important?
Yes.
Number 1, the ones that you would see with the candidates' faces and names on them, they are paid for by the party or the candidates' camp, the campaign. The other ones, the ones that generally encouraging you to go vote, those are paid through the local government, which we fund.
Yes.
So taxpayer money, that is important. And this is why people get sensitive.
Okay.
So there are political implications, let's say, based on color. So for example, in Busan, in Suyeonggu district, they posted this banner and it says, 이번에 투표한 국민의 승리. That was submitted by a People Power Party member, approved by the district's election commission. Here's the thing, though. The NEC said that this banner could come off as encouraging citizens to vote a particular direction because that 2번, if you pronounce it with a 단음, 2번에, it's this time. But if it's 2번, that's number 2. Right. So, and then the word 국민 is also
Obviously
within
there.
the People Power Party. So that the NEC ordered the district to take down this particular banner. Another one in Haeundae-gu. So we're looking at some local cases.
Okay.
It just says vote for the sake of your country. 국가를 위해서 투표합시다. Very basic wording.
Okay.
And then there are several others, 강서구 and 사구 as well. And the one you see is from 통영. But let's look at the color. The one that we have up there is red. So the banners usually they bear the color of the party to which the district head, 구청장, belongs. Yeah, so can we say that's apolitical? I don't know. Well, yeah, so, but then this isn't just red. In the bottom picture, that's in Hwasong, where the district or the mayor is from the Democratic Party. It's obviously blue. So the thing is, the National Election Commission, they actually do not have restrictions on what color the voter encouragement banners have to be, as long as there aren't partisan phrases. So the word matters, but not the color. However, some voters do say, again, because that is taxpayer funded, one shouldn't promote a particular party with such public displays or publicly funded material. Yeah, some people might agree, some people might not.
Yes, point noted.
That's why we're waggling.
Yeah, exactly. And again, colors very sensitive around election time. Hence, Haley and I, we're going to be wearing
Look
a
at
lot
us,
of neutral
all boring.
colors for the next few days because we don't want to send any type of inadvertent message. So we're just sticking to basic colors. Avoiding certain colors, right? Well, one particular K-pop idol is under fire for her wardrobe choice.
Right. So this was one of the hottest issues yesterday.
Yes.
aespa's Karina. She recently posted a photo on her Instagram taken while she was on a trip to Japan. And you can see that. This was posted on Tuesday. In the photo, if you're listening to us via radio, it's a black windbreaker jacket, but it has 3 big red lines across the chest or the entire torso with a big red number 2. So again, this raised suspicions among some commenters on whether are you making a political statement? Are you supporting a certain party? And shortly after that, she wound up deleting the post.
Yes, I see. Well, definitely it made the rounds because I definitely saw it.
I mean, we have it up. So the thing about social media online is nothing ever goes away.
It's always forever.
And here's the thing. It got real political yesterday. So People Power Party members actually went on a full offensive to defend Karina. By the way, who has not made any statement. Party member Lee Soo-jung wrote on social media, quote, "If you touch Karina, you're all dead," unquote. SM Entertainment, they issued a statement saying that Karina simply posted a snap from her daily life. There was no ulterior motive or intent. But once she understood it could be misguiding, she immediately deleted the photo and said that she feels really sorry about these unintentionally causing people concerns.
Yes.
Comments are divided. That some people are saying this is an outright support. That's so obvious with the red number 2. And also, the caption that she wrote was a single emoji of a rose. So this is called the rose election, these snap elections, because they do tend to take place, well, the last one and this one in springtime. Others, at least this is more, it's careless, at her point in her career, she should know better. Other people saying that people are blowing this way out of proportion. So.
I mean, I hear that idols and other celebrities are even avoiding. I am not gonna even doing the V. When you take a photo because it could be V or
actually a GIF
the number 2
of a live stream of one girl group idol. She gave a V and then she quickly went 2, 3, 4, 5 with her finger. She's like, I'm giving you all the fingers.
Right, because you just don't want to be.
And I think on election day a while ago, there was an idol who had red hair and he actually wore. Wrapped it up with a towel, not even a hat, but a towel. So again, I mean, should we be criticizing? I don't know.
Well, Tommy and Michael appreciate the fact that we're being smart. 무채색 드레스 코드 좋네요. I mean, we just, we don't want to.
I've picked out 4 outfits for the next
I know the first
until
few
June
weeks
3rd.
we're like,
what neutral
are you
are
wearing?
Yeah, okay.
That's Okay, so for our next story, an elementary school student hit his teacher because of a test question. Say it's not so, Haley.
What world are we living in? But unfortunately, yes. So this is from Gyeonggi-do, Gyeonggi Province Office of Education. A third grader, just quite young, at an elementary school in Uiwang, allegedly hit his teacher in the knee, hand, and ankle. So there were several punches thrown. This happened after they got their test back, 단원평가, a unit test or unit assessment.
Yes.
And apparently he saw that he got a question or some questions wrong on the math portion.
Okay.
He then raised his hand, said, "No, I got all of it right. 아닌데요, 다 맞았는데요." And the outburst happened after this, presumably in the process of the teacher saying, "Oh no, you got such and such question wrong."
Okay.
So at least here's the thing. It seems that things are being handled the way they're supposed to after this happened.
Okay.
Shouldn't have happened in the first place,
Right.
but here we are. The Education Support Center with the Education Office, it immediately convened a Teachers' Rights Protection Committee, separated the student and the teacher.
Okay.
The teacher received special leave with counseling. The boy also submitted, or the parents made him write a letter of apology, and they submitted it together to the teacher. But the Korea Teachers and Education Workers Union urged proactive responses on the part of the education authorities, calling this an act of violence that shakes up the foundation of public education.
I mean, just violence, period.
right.
It's a no-no. In schools especially, no.
And even just the culture where a third grader, 9 years old, feels
it's okay.
Feels this violent urge because of a test question. That also, it just speaks volumes.
Yes. All right. Lastly, fewer and fewer young people, very much connected to our text topic, are getting their driver's license. We need to know why.
Right. So most of our waivers, I haven't seen a single comment that says they don't have a driver's license. Right. But is it because we're all older? Maybe.
Probably.
Sorry. Did I just throw shade at everyone? Maybe.
Maybe.
All right. Because getting your driver's license once was a rite of passage. All your friends peer pressured you to do it after 수능 at 16. But with this economy, who can afford a license is basically what the MZs or Gen Zs are saying. A lot of young people are not driving. And this is data from the National Police Agency that said number of teens, because you can get it, I think, at 19, and those in their 20s getting their driver's licenses for the first time. That's down by 20% for 18 and 19-year-olds, 30% for 20-year-olds between 2020 and 2023. So it's just a matter of 3 years. The number of registered driving schools, 운전학원, that also declined by 7% in the first quarter of this year.
Very telling.
Yeah.
And by the way, stop saying MZ together. I heard from Gen Zs.
I know.
싫대요. M이랑 왜 자꾸 묵내고.
묻어가고 싶을 수도 있잖아요. As a millennial, I'm like, take me with you.
All the
I know slang.
The Gen Zs are like, why do you keep on putting it together?
Because I want to be young.
So
this is
따로
intentional.
부르래요. According to 예지 PD님.
진짜.
저부터 Z.
성근네.
잘났어요. 네. So, going back to our story. You said the economy may be a major factor.
Because number one, driving schools are not cheap. I think when my sister, who is solid Gen Z, when she got her driver's license, she didn't want to. And I was like, that's a survival skill. You have to. My parents wound up paying 100만 won for the entire process driving school because she failed her test a couple times.
Oh, you're just outing her on radio right now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
she's in Germany.
She scratched her family car a couple times too. Yeah. So, whatever. Even after you get a license, it ain't cheap. Right?
No, it's not.
Buying a car, insurance, maintenance, gas, which keeps going up and down. Again, expensive. And then the thing is, if you live in a larger city, a metropolitan city, there's the expanding GTX, subway, buses. Do you even need a car? And then also more incentive to take public transportation these days because of all those discounted cards. Even those who take the driver's ed tests or driver's ed classes, they're on a hunt for cheaper classes. For example, people who live in Seoul, they go to far away to Gyeonggi to take those classes because they do tend to be really expensive.
Yeah.
Or now there are VR classes, virtual simulators.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah, and it has a simulated street and everything. And the wheels are kind of weighed the same way along with the pedals too. And those who did get their license are more and more buying used cars. And that figure has been up according to the Korea Automobile Mobility Association. And also led to a solid proportion of people in their 20s in the used car market.
Sure.
Final bit, social media is also kind of stoking fears about driving because there are so many of those like black box analysis channels on the tube.
Yeah.
I mean, you watch one episode and you don't want to drive.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Well, we do have a person here. Tudung says, I don't want to get my driver's license because in Korea, the city's public transportation is out of the world, meaning amazing.
True.
And also, I don't want to have a 장롱면허, like just there, but not used.
Your inactive license.
Exactly. Yeah. So thank you for going over all the Wagley news and separate the M with a Z. It's a request. And we'll check in with you tomorrow. Thank you, Haley.
Bye.
All right. It's now time for your traffic and weather. It's time for your updated traffic. It is backed up from Manda Cathedral to Namhae Expressway right now, right around the Deokcheon ramp. Also congested on Nakdong Namno from Myeongji ramp to Cheongyangsa Ogi intersection. There's traffic on Jungangdaero from Busan City Hall to Songgong 3-way intersection. It's also slow on Hakjanglo from the Busan Detention Center to Hakjang intersection. It is 18 degrees Celsius. It is clear. The daytime high is going to go up to 25. It's a beautiful day here in Busan. Across the country, pretty much clear. However, showers are forecast in the afternoon for some regions. The daytime high will go all the way up to 28 degrees in some areas. This was your traffic and weather. This is our special interview. The National Gallery Singapore is currently presenting a special exhibition, City of Others, Asian Artists in Paris, 1920s to 1940s. This fascinating showcase shines a light on often overlooked contributions of Asian artists who helped shape the Parisian art scene during the interwar years, featuring more than 200 pieces of art along with 200 archival documents and images as well. The exhibition reveals how these artists, how they engage with modernist movements in Paris while weaving their cultural identities into their creative practices. So among them were Korean artists as well. Did you know whose unique voices are represented through 5 remarkable works that offer insight into their role into this very vibrant and transformative period. So joining us today is Ms. Horikawa Lisa. She is the Senior Curator and Director of Curatorial and Collections at the National Gallery Singapore. So let's say hi first. Hi, welcome to our program.
Hi, Catherine. Good morning from Singapore.
Yes. So first of all, can you tell us what inspired you or your gallery to really conceive of this exhibition?
I think this exhibition was born out of this desire to reframe a chapter in modern art history that has often been told from a European-centric perspective or within Asia. I think that this period in particular has been told or exhibited from a very country-specific framing. So in the past, there have been many exhibitions of Japanese artists in Paris or Korean artists in Paris, but never before has it been sort of treated or approached from a lateral perspective or comparative perspective. So that was the key drive in conceptualizing this exhibition. And it started out initially about 6 years ago when the lead curator for this exhibition, my colleague, Dr. Phoebe Scott, and I spent 1 month in France, unearthing any documents, relating to Southeast Asian artists in Paris, looking through their school records, exhibition history, spending, days and nights in Parisian archives and libraries. And through that process, we discovered that this Korean artist was exhibiting together with Japanese artists or Vietnamese artists in the same exhibition. And that was quite surprising, right? So I think that was a process of discovery through which we realized that there was definitely a shared time space across the experiences of Asian artists in Paris during this time.
Yes. And so thank you for explaining the backdrop of how this exhibition came together. So in terms of the key themes that this exhibition explores, can you go over them?
I think at its core, City of Others really explores what it meant for Asian artists to create art in a foreign land, as an outsider, as a new immigrant, in which they had to navigate multiple cultural identities as they encountered the cultural others in Paris. And through that experience, sort of rediscovering their new identity.
Yes. So, and when you mention the word like identity, I'm thinking especially during that era, in a foreign land, basically, right? That identity, I'm sure, was very important to the artists.
Definitely. And, I think we also have to take into consideration that their experience was also informed and framed by unbalanced power dynamics. So in case of Korea, as you know, it was under the Japanese colonial rule at that time.
Yes.
So I think the space that they navigated in France was quite complex. And you can also see similar kind of experience of complexity with artists, for example, from Vietnam, right?
Sure.
Vietnam was also under the French colonial rule at that time.
Right. Well, in terms of the Asian artists, like how did they navigate and contribute to the modernist art movements in Paris during this era, the 20s and 40s? Because, when we think about the modernist art movement in Paris, we don't first conjure up Asian and Asian artists, right?
Yeah, so I think it's important to acknowledge that Asian artists they did not arrive to France in a blank slate, right?
Yes.
Each of them brought with them their own educational training, artistic training, the networks that they had or built already within their home country and that sort of informed their experience in Paris.
Yes.
As well. But I guess what I could highlight here is these Asian artists had to navigate sometimes, or oftentimes Orientalist expectations from European audiences.
Yes.
I think European audiences, as you know, there's a long sort of history of engagement with Asian aesthetics and objects in France. Starting with, chinoiserie in 18th century, Japanism in 19th century. But I think it was the interwar period actually marked the first time when the French audience encountered the artists or artisans, from Asia working and practicing in France for the very first time in a major, scale, right? So that was a big change from before. So I think the Asian artists participated in the modernist, art movements in Paris by participating in various salon exhibitions, or creating, decorative, objects for the French audiences, etc.
I see. And now I do want to focus a little bit on the 5 featured works by Korean artists. So can you tell us about these pieces and about the artists as well?
So we have 5 works by 2 Korean artists in the exhibition. One of the most important Korean artists featured is Bae Song, and sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name. I hope it's okay. So he was widely recognized as the first Korean painter to study and work extensively in Europe. So he arrived first to Germany in 1922, and he also spent time in Paris, and altogether he spent about 18 years in Europe. So he developed this very distinctive style that blended kind of a post-impressionist, oil techniques with some oftentimes incorporating Korean subject matter, traditional, subject matter in his work. Yeah. So actually, you can see his work behind me. This painting,
right there.
So that's one of the works by Bae Song in the show. It's called "Returning Home" from 1938, where he reinterprets a classical, canonical sort of subject matter in traditional ink painting in East Asia, which is a literati crossing a snowscape. Right? He executed this subject matter using oil, right? And it's a large painting, as you can see, in comparison to other works. In the show.
Yes.
The exhibition also includes his self-portrait, in which Bae, although he presents himself as this quintessential, European artist carrying a palette in his hand and paintbrush, but behind him is an image of ukiyo-e print. Right, so it's interesting that he sort of infused an Asian element when in presenting his own self, image to the audience.
Yes.
We have 2 other works by Bae Song. So one is a Korean child depicting a baby, a toddler, adorned in traditional Korean clothing, but around the baby's neck, the bib, is actually a European embroidery, right? You see an European embroidery, so there's a mix. European Korean elements. And lastly, there's a portrait of Asia Rubinstein, who was a very renowned art critic active in France at that time. And it's very rare to see Asian artists depicting, a portrait of an art critic in such an intimate, sort of manner. And you can see in Asia's, kind of warm gaze looking back at the viewer that Bae Song probably had a very intimate relationship with this critic. So it's a quite special work. Yeah.
Can we hear about the other artists? Because we're almost out of time already. So.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yes, no.
Yeah, another key figure is Lee Chang-woo, who lived in Paris from 1925 to 1928. What's quite unique about him is that he studied under a Russian artist in Paris. So in the work we have on display, which is an image of a doll, it's actually informed by the Christian icon, which I think also, kind of relates to the training that he had from a Russian painter, the teacher.
Yes. And so in terms of the visitors, how have they responded thus far to the exhibition? Do you have any memorable stories or reactions to what they are viewing?
Well, just yesterday, a contemporary artist who visited the show enthusiastically sort of shared with me how the exhibition sort of renewed her understanding of the period completely. She had no idea that there were so many, Asian artists and artisans, working in Paris at that time. And I guess the sheer diversity of artists who came to Artists was what struck her.
Yes.
And it's always great to hear a comment from an artist, and she said the issues that we raise in the exhibition is actually still relevant today. artists working in a foreign land, negotiating with the self and other. She said it's still relevant today, which is quite, heartening to hear.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and for putting on this exhibition, letting us know all about this, not just the Korean artists that are featured, but of course, all the Asian artists as well. So thanks for joining us today. We do appreciate it.
Thank you so much. I hope you can come to the exhibition.
Oh,
Thank you.
of course, definitely. Once again, everybody, this was Ms. Horikawa Lisa, and we talked about the National Gallery of Singapore putting on this special exhibition. I love the title of it, City of Others, Asian Artists in Paris during the 1920s to 40s. So if you have a chance, definitely go check it out. Well, we are going to take a short song break, a little breather. So here is Meghan Trainor's Like I'm Gonna Lose You.
I found myself dreaming in silver and gold, like a scene from a movie that every broken heart knows. We were walking on moonlight and you pulled me close. Split second and you disappeared, and then I was all alone. I woke up in tears with you by my side, breath of relief, and I realized no, we're not promised tomorrow. So I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna hold you like I'm saying goodbye. Wherever we're standing, I won't take you for granted, 'cause we'll never know it when we'll run out of time. So I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you.
In the blink of an eye, just a whisper of smoke, you could lose everything. The truth is you never know. So I'll kiss you longer, babe. Any chance that I get, I'll make the most of the minutes alone with no regrets. Let's take our time to say what we want, use what we got before it's all gone. 'Cause no, we're not promised tomorrow. So I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna hold you like I'm saying goodbye. Wherever we're standing, I won't take you for granted, 'cause we'll never know it when we'll run out of time. So I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna hold you like I'm saying goodbye. Wherever we're standing, I won't take you for granted, 'cause we'll never know it when we'll run out of time. So I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you. I'm gonna love you like I'm gonna lose you.
All right, so waivers today, we've been talking about, whether you have a driver's license. Well, most of you do. Not all, but most. Overwhelmingly, most of you do have a driver's license. And the age of when you got your license is all over the board. So it seems like, for our waivers abroad if you're like in the States. Most of you got it early, like I did, right? 15, 16. And then for many people here in Korea, it's kind of like a rite of passage, right? Out of high school, going into maybe if you went to university, going into your college years. And some people, just say, hey, I don't really need it. Well, we have Curatorial saying, I got my driver's license when I was 29. I just wanted to try it. It was just my own challenge. And then after I got it, it just gave me confidence. So Curatorial didn't feel the need. I assume if you're in Korea especially, there is fantastic public transportation. Where I'm from, LA, you can't survive without a car because it's such a huge, huge, huge city. It's a mega city and everything's sprawled out. Public transportation not nearly as good as here we have it. As we have it here in Busan and especially here in Korea. I do want to, do you guys remember yesterday everybody was talking about being kind of lovey-dovey and all that. Tommy had a follow-up response to everybody who was asking. And he calls his wife, aka she's known as the room controller for whatever reason. At least it's not house controller or life controller. It's just room controller. So he gave a follow-up saying that, when she wants to buy something, according to Tommy, she does the whole "opaya," like that kind of voice. And then when I've done something wrong, she says, yeah. And so he has a question for everybody. Why am I surrounded by all these sen 언니들, according to him? That's what he says. Well, you know what? That is your destiny. That is your fate. Just accept it and say thank you is what I can say. So we're going to get to Vasana and Buzz Breakdown. It's time for Buzz Breakdown, and we have the lovely, I'm going to read it verbatim. No. The lovely, the handsome, the one and only Vasana. I have it on my script.
Oh, don't. I crossed it out. The strike-through script. It was just for your eyes.
No. Every single word of that was so true. You're lovely.
Not
You're
the handsome
so
part.
handsome.
You're not.
And you are the one and only Vasana that I know of.
That I'll agree with.
I don't know anybody else named Vasana. That's true, right?
That could be negative or positive.
No. So how are you?
I'm good. Going to the driver's license thing.
Yeah.
I first drove a car when I was 12.
Is that legal?
No.
Vasana, are you confessing on air? They might come arrest you.
Because I grew up in the countryside in New Zealand, and so not many policemen around there. Plus, when you're on a farm or when you're in the back,
I know. It's common for in the rural areas.
Yep.
Like your parents, they might help you navigate.
And my father,
a tractor or a car, right?
My father taught us how to do a hill start.
What's a hill start?
That's when you put your car on a hill, and then you put the brake up, and then you have to start. That's one of the tests in New Zealand. You didn't have that in America?
No, in America we have just regular roads. We have regular.
Regular?
We have regular
you don't have
paved
hills?
roads.
You don't have
I'm
hills?
just kidding. No, William in San Francisco is probably laughing at me right now because in San Francisco
they must have hill starts in San Francisco. Yeah. So anyway, one of the tests is a hill start. And so my dad taught me by parking the car on a boat ramp. And
are you serious?
I'm serious. And so if we weren't successful, row your car gently down the stream.
Like literally?
Literally.
Oh, interesting.
Anyway.
No, I love it.
So I
Hearing
got
about
my
your
15.
15.
Yep.
That's the legal. Is that the legal age?
That's the legal age.
15. That's young.
Same as you.
16.
Oh,
well, I
sorry.
mean, you take the written at 15 and a half, but yeah, you get your actual license at 16. But still, relatively young.
Same in New Zealand.
Can you imagine, though?
Yeah.
In Korea, if the 15 and 16, no. With their 중2, 중3병, no.
Oh, wow.
No. Okay. So what do you have for us for Buzz Breakdown?
Buzz Breakdown today, I've got some terms, some words that I discovered on the internet, interweb, I was going to say.
Oh, God.
How old am I?
Yes, really.
Internet. That has slightly different meanings to what they meant when I was young.
Oh, really?
Okay, so
we got to get into this.
I guess the first one was aura points.
Okay, so we gotta spell it out for you. It's A-U-R-A.
Yeah.
So he says aura. I say aura. Okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so aura points. What is this?
So this is the playful or a playful way people talk about the invisible energy or vibe someone gives off.
Oh,
so
like right now?
Yeah.
Do you see
so
the
there's
aura?
not too much difference, but
Do you see the aura?
yeah.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Okay, so
there's probably
so
another
it's a
thing
vibe.
that Tommy gets as well. Yeah.
Tommy, do you do the yeah all the time? Yes, yes.
For example, someone might say, that person's helping a stranger. Big aura points.
That's how you would
that's
use
how
it.
they use it. Not the way that we just...
not the way I used it.
So that's the definition I know. You're giving off positive energy.
Yes,
aura.
yes. Oh, but it's
so
like...
this one here is...
social credit for like...
Correct.
Yeah, for something doing something good.
Yes.
Like a good Samaritan.
Helping a person across the street.
Right.
Which I am doing a lot more lately because there's a lot more elderly people in Busan.
Right. And then, so you say, you get some
You get
aura
points. Yeah.
Oh, that's how you use it.
Aura points. Aura points. Yes.
Oh, Michael in Korea is aura points. Because it's pronounced aura in Korean. Yeah. So
aura.
Not points, yes.
Okay, so I just thought I'd put some definition of what it was in the 1980s.
Yes. What was it in the 80s?
Or maybe before. Spiritual or medical.
Yeah.
So that was the aura. New Age circle. So that's even from the 60s.
Yeah.
You know, all those people wearing flower power things. Yeah. Associated, as you said, with energy fields. You have an aura about you.
Like personal vibes.
And it's mystical and serious. So now it's social, stylistic, emotional. It's on mainstream social media and personal vibes. Yeah, as we said before. And it's not as, when we were younger, it's more serious. Now it's more casual, playful, friendly sort of thing.
We are getting schooled.
Yeah, we're getting schooled by the schoolers.
What's the next buzzword?
Okay, so I thought I'd dive into some other words that I used when I was young and has changed a little bit since to now. So the next one is vibes.
Vibes?
Yeah, so good vibes. So I think it's sort of stayed the same. So it's positive energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good vibes, keeping things happy and chill.
So that one hasn't changed?
Not too much. And also vibing.
Vibing, yeah.
That band is vibing. Or
like it's used as an adjective.
Correct.
Or like, kind of like a verb.
Yep.
Where before it was just a noun.
Yes, and I have not heard that used recently by young people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's bring it back into mainstream media.
No, let's not.
No,
let's
not.
keep it with the Beach Boys.
Word.
Good vibrations. Let's keep it there.
No, I'm talking about. Anyway, next one, karma.
Karma.
So this one is similar, has a similar meaning to aura. So karma was now spiritual points for good deeds. And you lose points if you do something.
Points.
Yeah. So
this is so like 2025
they've
because
gamified your life.
No, because back in the day, it was kind of like karma. It's going to come bite you.
Yes,
karma is we can't say on air, right?
Yeah. It's karma is your lifetime.
Yeah.
So if you do something bad when you're younger, then you'll marry somebody horrible when you're older.
So we have a listener, Michael, who says, vibes. 이 표현 MZ들이 주로 쓰는 건가요? 우선요, 마이클님, M하고 Z 자꾸 붙이면 안 된다고요. 헤어졌어요.
Where?
이혼, like they're separated. Gen Z가 너무 기분 나쁘대요. So you can't clump them together. But in Korea, they always clump them together, but not in English-speaking countries. And number two,
I still have no idea what you're talking about.
vibes는 약간 옛날 표현이에요. Like kind of back in the day. Oh, like Vasana, and probably even for me as well.
Yeah.
Right. 그래서 요즘 건 아니에요. Yes.
I've heard young people these days say, that's giving me good vibes.
Yeah.
Just like that, but not vibing or...
No. Okay, so karma is slightly different, but kind of similar now.
Yes. And so I thought I'd introduce some New Zealand slang. We say sweet as.
What?
Yeah. That's what my friends say. Sweet as what?
Like, what do you mean? Like, you're missing a word.
No, the sweet as is the term.
Is the term, right. Like, I would say sweet as what?
Yeah. And that's what all my friends say.
Oh, but what does it mean? It just means it's
just
sweet?
Something that has good vibes.
Ah, sweet ass.
Sweet ass.
Oh, okay. I like.
So if I ever send you a message, sweet ass.
Now I know.
Don't say what.
Okay. Like, what, finish the sentence. Sweet as what?
Okay, some other terms that I found out. Clout.
Clout.
So clout, when I was younger, had a very strong meaning.
Yes.
So, for example, a CEO.
Oh, he has clout.
He has
or
clout.
she has clout.
Yeah.
Yes.
And swag as well. So swag is like the way you're walking or you have confidence about you.
Like especially like because it comes from the word swagger.
Yeah.
It's shortened to swag, right?
Yes.
And then I always imagine like, somebody with like the low-rise pants kind of walking like,
yeah, swag.
like the 90s like hip hop. You know what I'm talking about? Like please pull up your pants. Like we don't want to see your underwear, right? Walking with that swag. Yes.
And I was going to say in New Zealand we say choice, but a friend of mine from New Zealand said only old New Zealanders say that.
Say choice?
Choice.
What is choice?
It's like
it's an idiom for what? What is it like? What are we trying to
when
say?
something's cool.
You say
when something has
so you would say like choice.
Choice.
Really?
Choice, man. Yeah.
I've never heard that.
Yeah. So these two
Different
terms
generations.
still have the same meaning as when they were first invented, but because it's moved on to social media, it has lost a bit of, and I'm going to use a big word here, dignitas. A bit of, here's a small word, oomph.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we're so dating ourselves. Yeah.
And strength. So when something is overused,
yes,
it loses its impact or weight or strength. Like when a song is played too many times on the radio, it's
get sick of it, right?
Get sick of it. Like when we say, I love you when you finish a phone call to your wife or husband. No, you don't do that.
You're going out there on a limb.
Is my wife watching?
Ani,
love you.
I love you is not overused. I think it's underused.
Really?
Yeah.
I say I love you all the time when I finish a phone call.
Because that's like in your nature
with my
and your
wife,
culture.
No, everybody.
I hope it's your wife.
With my wife.
How many times do you say I love you?
In a day to my wife? Probably about 10, between 10 and 20.
Oh, yeah, you are overusing it. 그건 너무 많다. 어떻게 사랑해를 like 10번 이상? You're just like,
Oh, it's too much?
Too much.
Okay.
Like for me, max is like, it's always in response. Like, the other person says like I love you. Me too. Me too. Ditto.
I bet you just say,
It depends.
There's another one, Tommy.
Yeah. If I'm in a good mood, I say me too. If I'm not in a great mood, and then the smile. That's it.
When I was younger, I used to say, I love you more.
Aw.
Love you
Does
more.
your son still kiss you?
Yeah.
But how old is he again?
12.
12.
Yeah.
Okay. Because
but not Tom Brady kiss. But
no, yeah. No, but like, no, the reason why is because like my oldest is like, he's a man now.
Yeah.
And then his dad was like, I miss getting kisses from you, like, son. And my son looked at him like, are you serious? Like on the lips, Dad? No. So he pecked him on the cheek and he was happy for like an entire week.
Oh, wow.
Right. So
that would be the last one for another year.
So if we had to kind of wrap up, let's go through the terms once again. So we have
Aura points.
aura or aura.
Sorry,
Yes.
aura.
Yes.
Good vibes. Karma.
Points.
Yeah. In New Zealand, we don't have the R, so it's karma.
Karma. Yeah, it's
Karma. Chameleon.
Yes, and then we have
Clout and swag.
Swag is kind of old though.
Yeah. But we
need some.
This is
okay,
something that
Vasana.
shouldn't go out of fashion because it's the way people walk and talk.
I know, but still, I want some like new Gen Z terms. Like,
yeah.
For real.
Okay, I'll bring that next week.
Because even Riz, like sus, all that, we want to learn. Because people are like eating the sub. They really, really enjoy this segment.
Are they making fun of us?
Probably. I see lots of kukukus for some reason. I don't know where. I don't know why. But they're thoroughly enjoying it. So definitely bring us some like Gen Z, not the millennial stuff. Okay.
Shall bring some young people in to talk about it.
All right. Well, have a wonderful weekend. We'll check in with you next week.
Okay. Thank you.
Everybody, this was Vasana. So handsome, so lovely, the one and only Vasana. It's time to say goodbye. But before we do so, once again, to remind you, early voting kickoff today, 6 a.m. It's going on until 6 p.m. tonight. Tomorrow also as well, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. early voting. And our final song, I hope he's still listening because this is for you, Tommy, from our producers. 선물이래요. This is 오빠 Bye. This is by 신호등도와 김루트. Enjoy. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.
오빠야 내가 진짜 좋아하는 사람이 생겨서 혼자 끙끙 앓다가 죽어버릴 것만 같아서 얘기를 한다 눈앞에 아른아른거리는 잘생긴 얼굴 자꾸 귀에 맴도는 그의 촉촉한 목소리
도대체 누구길래 이렇게나 들뜬거니 얼굴은 어떻게 생겼는지 무슨 일을 하는지 나는 너무나 궁금해
나는 너를 좋아하고 너를 좋아하고 너도 나를